I'd like to see. I'd like to see your talk in due course on leadership development. That sounds really good. I think it's a very interesting. I think actually, Paul, you wrap a lot of things together in one pot, which is and make it and spit it out in an interesting, tangible way with a lot of your own personality or ego, whatever you call it, which is refreshing, and it's always striking. So it's good. So
Thank you.
yeah, I look forward to seeing that. So anyway, we were talking about having fun in our series of humanity and what it is to be human. So would you like to kick off the discussion, Paul? I think you've just.
I said the title for my post today is going to be "I have an ego that would kill a lesser man."
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, very articulate. Yeah. So on what are your thoughts on having fun, Paul? What do you reckon?
Okay, well, I saw the question having fun, and I will talk about. I think the first thing that I want to do is look. I mean, my idea of fun involved young ladies in the hospitality industry, illegal street drugs, and really nice hotel suites.
Yeah.
It's like, and once the problem is, once that's your idea of fun, everything else is not fun. So when I heard of sort of like having fun, I was like, okay, well, fun's good, but what's the difference between fun and happiness, and what's the difference between fun and joy?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I just want to explore that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, and the real thing is, it's like, I've always, because I was in active addiction until ages of 46. And what I've just described was my idea of fun. I've never really had any, the hobbies that I've had have only involved stuff like Freemasonry and golf and pool, right? Which are all things that you can do while drinking like a maniac.
Yeah.
So I've never really had hobbies. I mean, if you ask me what I do that's fun in my life is, things like this are fun. I enjoy conversations with my sponsees. I enjoy having spiritual conversations.
Yeah.
I really like taking the piss out of people, and I have friends that I can. I wouldn't say that. I teasing. I mean, I used to do that in the past. Now there are a couple of people that I enjoy teasing. I'm really lucky that I actually enjoy quite simple things. It's like I went and had it's going to sound so gay, but I mean, I went and had I really like having manicures and pedicures. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The other day I sort of like I used to have hot towel shaves all the time, and I haven't had one for a while. And I was like, no, I should go and get one of those. And I got one of those with a haircut, and it felt great. So I'm actually a comfort junkie. I really like comfort. Yeah. I mean, you put me in a nice bed with nice linen, with multiple pillows, cozy. I mean, I love comfort. It's like if ever I can upgrade to business or for I always. I mean, I don't pay for it, but if there's a way that I can do it, like on the sly or cheaply, I always do that. So
yeah,
for me, that's fun. And I have a good sense of humor, and I can see the funny side of life. And so for me, a lot of the time, fun is actually tied up with funny.
Yeah.
I think what's, for me, what I try and do is I try and, the discipline that I would like to have is to be able to look at the remarkable life that I do have. And I do have a remarkable life. I've so much to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Not the least of which is that sort of like I'm loved by God and I'm saved,
Yeah.
And just, that really ought to be enough for me to be in a permanent state of joy, because my little troubles really are wrapped up with my, wrapped up. They're really, really small. And on the, in the big picture, they're tiny. And what I really want to do is be able to cultivate a, if I could cultivate a ongoing sense of gratitude in my life, then I would be joyful. And that joy would be a resource that would not be dependent on externals, which is what I think happiness is, and would not be extended upon doing external things, which is what I think having fun is.
Yeah, yeah,
And one of the strategies that I've used to do that, because as I said, I'm an addict, is gratitude is not a natural state for me. So I've developed this thing called gratitude, okay, which is kind of like gratitude for dickheads. And what gratitude is anything that I can be glad, anything that's not a negative. So right now, I'm happy it's cold. I'm happy that I've got a nice sweater. I'm happy that I've got an iPhone. I'm happy my earbuds are working. I'm happy that my Wi-Fi is working. I'm happy that I've got money in my pocket and can go and have a nice cheese sandwich. I'm happy that if I don't want to get a bus, I can get an Uber. I could just look at my life and be glad for anything that's not a negative. And that actually gets me into gratitude. If you ask me, what are you grateful for? Then it's like, everything seems to be a bit major, but this is kind of like the Kickstarter.
yeah,
This is like the beta test for it. So
yeah.
that was, I like to journal with my planner every morning. And that was the big word that I put down for the day, gratitude. And I thought that, I really thought that sort of like links with having fun, because there's plenty of things that I can do to have fun. But I think the important thing is to be able to be joyful when you're not having fun, or to be joyful when you're dealing with something difficult, and to have that, to have that inner resource and that connection. And for me, that's a connection. It's a connection with Christ, but it has to be a mental thing as well. It's understanding that I'm loved and really seeing the big picture. And I think another way of saying seeing the big picture is seeing yourself as God sees you.
Yeah.
And if I did that, then I would be full of joy. So that's kind of where I am with that.
Fantastic. Yeah, love that. That's really interesting. I think the notion of happiness, I think, is all around external things and finding joy. And I think certainly as a young man, my experience was the same. I pursued a route of earning as much money as possible, and spending it on similar but different things that frankly were quite fun, but actually did me no good whatsoever. And actually you become more dependent on those things as well, because it's a bit of a slippery slope, and you actually lose yourself. I think in that process,
Yeah.
you completely lose yourself. You lose who Paul is, you lose who Tom is, and you sort of wake up in the morning and think, bloody hell, what's next? And I think picking up some of the things we've talked about in this series, I think it does come back to I like this quote from Carl Jung: the privilege of a lifetime is to discover who you truly are. And I think that's really the crux. And I think the challenge is, who are you? And without God, I don't think you've got any chance of actually discovering that. And I think that requires us to step out and be ourselves and overcome our fear of becoming ourselves, and converting those things in our minds into reality and acting upon those things, even if they might make us unpopular, or we might have fear associated with them. So I think the other thing in terms of having fun is when you meet people. You meet people, we all do, with a whole lot of stuff in our heads, which has got to be got out of the way. And I think the thing about laughing and humor is actually it gets all that stuff out. And actually, if you can find somebody and get them to laugh, which I sort of think is an element of fun, then actually you can level your assumptions and almost start from scratch, regardless of whether or not you like them. Because I think the other thing with this that struck me was, who do we actually reach out to, and are they people like ourselves? I mean, I was dropping my daughter off this morning, and there was a guy that was walking along the pavement, Paul, who just looked very deep in his own thoughts, right? And he looked quite depressed, to be honest. And I thought, I want to stop and speak to that guy, because I can remember, I can think of times in my life when I was like that. And I just thought, can I help you? Yeah. And actually, he looked potentially, didn't look very friendly. He looked potentially a little bit violent. But actually, I think, unless we share the love with other people and try to get a position of parity and love, frankly, then the engagement doesn't happen. I think that's a lot of the basis of having fun, and also humor. I think the other, a lot of the things as well, we tend to be very much stuck in our thoughts as well. If we are fearful, we get stuck in our thoughts, which is a big problem. And humour sort of instantly can break us out of that. So I think humour is important, having a laugh is important, but as well as not taking ourselves too seriously, because I think
Yeah.
we can take our work seriously, but not take ourselves seriously, because it's about
Yeah.
recognizing we are not the finished article. We're a work in progress. And I think the minute we start, thinking that what comes out of our mouths is correct, and everybody else is wrong, it's a very unhealthy place to be. So
Yeah.
I think just your point about the distinction between happiness and fun, the external manifestation of happiness, and joy is, I totally agree, because I think the basis of happiness technically is your well-being being dependent on external events or happenings. That's actually the meaning of happiness.
Yeah.
Whereas as Christians, as you rightly said, Jesus said it's a gift from God to appreciate what you've got. And if you're not, if the alternative to that is a curse, because you're on this non-gratitude or gratitude trajectory, which is very nasty. And I think from that you find internal strength, you find joy in difficulty, which is the sort of ultimate challenge. It's what James is talking about, but actually you learn, and I've learned this actually, that you can find joy in the most adverse circumstances and still be joyful.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I think, is because when things get difficult, when you run out of steam, rather than turn to your own resources and self-righteousness, which runs out quickly in difficult circumstances, you turn to God, and actually then you get sorted out rather than sort of destroying yourself or having a drink or smoking a cigarette or whatever habit you may have or other. So, and I think the other thing is if you're in marriage as well, marriage is a hell of a challenge, because the notion of getting married to someone for 40 years and waking up in the morning and trying to keep a relationship with someone alive and is an interesting challenge. And I think, to be honest, again, Jesus says he can make everything new every day. And I think, to be honest, without God, you've got no chance in the marriage.
Yeah.
Unless you're a very boring person, actually. I think you and I are a bit sort of similar, and I think it's good in some ways because we can challenge our own thinking. But I think, if you don't have such large ambitions, I think, or big drivers or ego, as you call it, I think it's probably a bit easier. So I mean, how do I handle this in business? I mean, I basically, when I start business meetings, I try and have the most stupid conversation I can think of to make people laugh and get us all on a human.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing about laughter is people like you.
Yeah,
it's a really good way of getting people to like you. If you
yeah,
make people feel good, they'll like you.
yeah.
Let's not forget that. But yeah, great. I try and do that as well.
I think it's so important, and it can be at my cost. It's often at my cost, So, and I think that's, and I think there's a quote from Dolly Parton which I came across, which is, if someone doesn't have a smile, give them yours.
That's nice. Good old Dolly.
Yeah, and actually it really struck me actually, because it's so true. And if you ever look at her, right, as an individual, quite a striking individual in many ways, but that was really, really well thought through strategy, and it's what probably one of many things which made her so extraordinarily successful. And I think the flip side of this, the thing that I discovered actually with this, is that actually coming back to wokeness and the victim mentality, is that it's actually absolutely disastrous. They have no chance of having fun or joy, because they externalize everything. They don't take any responsibility. They don't take any new action, and because they're victims, so they are constantly externalizing and blaming things on others, which is leads to this entitlement situation, which is just some sort of weird, humorless hell. It's the antithesis.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me with that, Paul, actually, there's no way that humor can break into that. There's no way that humor can break that humility, can break that anger, can break that brain, etc. So, and I think I think the depth of our peace, and when the world's falling apart, if you take Ukraine or some of the awful situations, or to be honest, some of the situations we face on a daily basis, some things can really cause us problems. I think, quite honestly, without having Jesus as our rock when we run out of steam, whatever your plan is, if it's self-righteousness or you know better, quite frankly, that is going to get trashed. And when you look at the global economic situation at the moment, what's going on, the carpet's going to be pulled out of from a lot of people's feet. So if they think that their own self-righteousness is going to be the source of their joy and well-being and happiness and fun, and their material aspirations, I think it's just going to collapse beyond belief. So I think this does a full circle and says, look, without Jesus, you really are.
Yeah, we're rooted, as they say in Australia, 100% hallelujah. And I think, and I think the evolution for many people is the sooner you realize that in life, the better.
Yeah. And it does take a good kick. I mean, you and I have had interesting paper rounds, and I do think you need to run out of steam and you do need to regroup. And I think the interesting thing is, I think as well, all of the really big, all the really, big Christian people who check, like Wesley and goodness knows, all those sorts of people, they all had some unbelievable crisis in their lives. Of the scale of losing a child or in tragic circumstances or some awful thing, and they just became utterly flattened and they came back. And I do think the worst situation is that people can be bumbling along in their material world with their BMW, 2 kids and 2 dogs, thinking everything's okay, not thinking maybe there's something missing, but that is just a horrible, horrible place to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So good.
So yeah.
Awesome.
How's your cheese sandwich, Paul? Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't ordered it yet. I'm gonna go and grab it. Yeah. All right, thank you. Well, this has been good. Yeah, I love what you said. It's always good to be reminded from that quote from Freud. And like I said, I mean, you said it to me the other day, but you said it like a couple of months ago, and it stayed with me, though it was nice to be reminded of it. Is like Jesus really wants us to be who he created us to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like, listen, this is what I made you to be. Why are you trying to be something else?
I know. That's what he wants. Warts and all, mistakes and everything. He wants us to be free. This is the notion as well. If he wanted us to be robots, he would have made us robots.
Yeah.
He definitely did.
We would have been born in China.
Yeah. And that is such an exciting, liberating feeling, particularly when you've got the lion of creation behind you who
amen.
So absolutely, it's with all the love you can possibly imagine. So what else do you need, really? So yeah, fantastic, Paul. It's great to see you, my friend.
All right, take care. We'll speak in another couple of weeks, and I'll see you on WhatsApp.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, see you later. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.